Welcome to the Book Party Podcast.
Join us as we journey into the world of books with Michael T.
Prepare to be captivated by engaging interviews, insightful discussions, and fascinating stories. You'll discover new adventures and gain insight into the creative process of the authors themselves as they share their struggles and accomplishments. Now let's hear from Michael T.
This is Michael T. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another intriguing episode of the Book Party Podcast. Today we are pleased to introduce you to a prolific author who can weave the perfect cozy mystery, keeping readers on the edge of their seats. Please join us in welcoming Liz Mugavero. I don't even know if I said it right, but it's close. Also known as Cate Conde. Liz Mugavero is a brilliant mind behind 3 captivating mystery series, 2 with Kensington Books and 1 with St. Martin's Press. Under her pen name, Liz Mugavero, she brings us the positively organic mysteries, one of which was even nominated for an Agatha Award for Best First Novel, and as Cate Conde, she enchants us with the Cat Cafe mysteries and the full exciting New Full Moon mysteries. Her talent for crafting mysteries that tickle our sleuthing instincts is second to none, and she calls the vibrant city of Boston her home. Today we're diving into the enchanting world of her latest book, Lives And Alibis, the 7th installment in the beloved Cat Cafe Cozy Mystery series. As the air grows crisp and the leaves rustle with the approach of Halloween, Daybreak Island is gearing up for a spooktacular celebration. The town has pulled out all the stops, aiming to outshine even the famous test festivities of neighboring Salem, Massachusetts. However, mischief brews when Maddie's youngest sister, Sam, invites the renowned medium Balfour Dempsey to town for the celebrations. Housing him in the local haunted inn, accompanied by his equally famous black cat, secrets lurk behind closed doors, and Maddie's best friend Becky is determined to enlist Balfour's help in unraveling 2 haunting mysteries from the past, a decades-old murder and a missing maid. But when Balfour meets an untimely end, plunging from the cliffs behind the inn, and his beloved feline companion vanishes, Daybreak Island finds itself amid a real-life Halloween murder mystery. Join us as we uncover the secrets, explore the chilling twists, and embrace the cozy charm of 9 Lives and Alibis. So, dear listeners, get ready for a thrilling conversation with the talented Liz Mugavero, and we'll dive into the art of crafting captivating cozy mysteries and the intriguing world of Daybreak Island. Stay tuned for an episode that promises to keep you guessing until the very last page. So, Liz, why don't you take it from here, fill in any of the blanks, and tell our listeners about yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and what an intro. Thank you. So yes, as you mentioned, I write 3 series under 2 names, Liz Mugavero, and you're very close, and Cate Conde. I've been writing forever and ever, but my first mystery was published back in 2013, the first in the Positively Organic Mysteries, which was nominated for an Agatha, as you mentioned. And that book, that series centers around a woman who leaves her corporate job, but she's actually kind of pushed out of her corporate job, and she ends up making gourmet pet food and pet treats for her cat and the neighboring animals in her new small town, and it becomes a whole career along with solving murders. And from there, I sort of got the reputation as someone who likes to write about cats. So the Cat Cafe Mystery series presented itself to me, so I had to jump on it. And the latest book, as you mentioned, was out last month. And then from there, I started writing the Full Moon Mysteries, which is my other favorite thing because I love anything witchy and, woo-woo. So to be able to incorporate those things with cats in my latest book, Nine Lives and Alibis, was really fun. So excited to talk about it.
Okay, well, you've been writing for a very long time. So on your publishing journey, did you go ever through self-publishing or always through finding an agent and an agency route, any hybrid publishing? How has your publishing journey evolved?
Yeah, so I have always been traditionally published. Back when I started out, back in, I started out a long time ago, but when I was looking for an agent and, doing all of those things and going to conferences, self-publishing was not what it is today. And it was actually looked down upon, right? So, and I wish things might have been different in that regard. But, back then it was like traditional publishing was really the only route to take that, if you wanted to have a quote unquote renowned career. So I threw myself into that process. And it's, I had been writing. I got my master's in writing and publishing. After I graduated from Emerson with that degree, I started diving into a life of crime, as it were, and really exploring the crime genre. I got involved in mystery conferences, and that's where I really started networking and meeting people and learning how it all worked and pitching my work and editing and revising and doing all of it all over again. So after 10 years of that, it happened overnight that an opportunity through the group, the Sisters in Crime group, which is an international group that supports female crime writers, also males, but definitely female crime writers. I belong to both the international chapter and the New England chapter. And through the New England chapter, an opportunity presented itself to work with an agent to develop a proposal for a cozy series. So I had never written a cozy series before, but I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. So I met with him. We hashed out a plan. I wrote him a proposal, and it sold within a month, and I was off and running.
Well, that's fantastic. So in this journey, did you ever do any indie type work on your books, or did you always have collaboration? Did you ever, how did you ever do your books themselves and your editing and your covers and formatting and stuff like that?
Yeah, so all of it was done through my publishers, right? So I did seek some outside editing assistance just for my own, because I wanted to turn a good product into my editor. So I did do some independent editing as well, before I turned my books in. But all of it was done, since I went the traditional route, all of it was done through my publishers. So they handled the covers, the distribution. 2 of my series are in audiobooks, so those were handled, they sold the rights to those, and those were handled by a separate company as well.
Oh, so you have audiobooks on this as well then?
Yes. Yep, on the Cat Cafe series and on the Full Moon series.
Oh, fantastic. So take us to a point in time, let's go with the current book here,
Yep.
that you would consider your worst author moment.
Well, I actually can't say with this book I had a bad author moment, but I can go back to a very bad author moment back when I was writing my first series. I was working on book 6 in that series, and it was, a time of a lot of personal upheaval, and I had a deadline that I had sort of messed up. So I thought I had a little more time for this book than I actually did. And when I realized that I only had a few weeks left to turn the book in, it was about half written, but I had written myself into a corner and I just couldn't get out. And so I hadn't done any plotting really. I had just, done what I always did, just started writing and hoping for the best. And so when I realized that I was in a predicament, a friend of mine reached out and said, "Hey, I can help you, plot your way out of this plot hole and get the rest of this book done." So we got on FaceTime and we hashed out what the problem with the book was. And basically I had taken my cozy and started writing a thriller somehow, and it just wasn't working because it wasn't meant to be a thriller. So we sort of figured out the problem, plotted out the rest of it, and then I was able to get it done mostly on time. But that was probably my worst moment because, I had always been what they call a pantser. So writing by the seat of your pants, not really a plot. I had a loose outline, but nothing that I ever felt completely beholden to. So from that moment on, I thought, I can't start another book without one of these plotting sessions with this particular friend who was very good at plotting, and then having a plan for the book, because otherwise, I did not want to be running into the nightly tears that I had been running into trying to get this book done. So that completely changed how I approached my books.
Okay. Well, let's flip the coin a little bit, and we'll go to what I call an epiphany moment. You could be doing anything except your writing. You could be driving, you could be eating, you could be cooking, you could be doing anything. And all of a sudden, this bright light bulb goes off in your head. Like, wow, or an aha moment, or something happens. I got to get a pen and paper and write this down right now, or talk it into your phone or something while it's still fresh in your mind. Do you have a moment like that?
I mean, I get a lot of my epiphany moments. So I'm very fortunate. I live on the beach. And so every morning I walk my dogs on the beach and I listen to podcasts. And for some reason, the combination of the podcast that I listen to and just being out on the beach and in that air and watching my dogs play, it's really inspiring for me. So I usually end up taking many notes, or Siri ends up taking many notes for me in the morning, and people must think I'm kind of weird. I'm walking around talking to myself on the beach every day, but those are where I get a lot of ideas, or I work through, an issue in the particular book I'm working on, or I think of something that, I need to do for my business, or a theme that I want to do for my next email to my newsletter list. So it's definitely, I get a lot of ideas just being outside in nature and breathing in the salt air.
Okay, great. What is the one thing that you are fired up about or excited about right now today?
So I'm really excited about the fact that this book is out and it's almost, fall and Halloween. It's like the perfect time for the book. So that's exciting. But also I'm really excited I'm about to launch a course also in October for people who want to write their first cozy mystery. So taking them through the process of not only how to write a book, structure a book, but also a lot of the different types of mindfulness and meditation. And, I'll go back to that woo-woo word, other things that I do to help me get creative, stay creative, and get my words written every day. So I'm excited about that.
Okay, well, this is Michael T. We invite you to go to bookpartypodcast.com. Hit that subscribe tab on top, scroll down to the icon of your choice, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or Odyssey. You can download and follow us there, and please leave a review. Don't forget to sign up for our weekly video newsletter and get the latest information for our upcoming shows. Now, Liz, we're going to enter into the lightning round. Okay. We have 4 pointed questions for 4 pointed answers. Now, I know you've been writing for a long time, but before you became an author, before you started writing, what held you back from becoming an author in the first place?
So I think a lot of it was just a couple things. So lack of confidence maybe, but also I think, I had heard from a very young age that, my parents were they were teachers, they were very realistic, they were prone to looking at, the world in a certain way. So I think for them, thinking about a daughter who might make a career out of writing books was just, they couldn't wrap their minds around that. So they were always giving me the message, very well meaning, but they were always giving me the message of like, that's great, but you should have a backup plan. So for a long time, I focused on my backup plan. So I was a journalist. I worked in corporate marketing and communications. I kept trying to, I was working on my writing the whole time, but I think if I had probably put more attention on the actual writing than the backup plans while the writing was done on the side, I probably could have gotten where I was going a little faster.
Okay. Well, when you did start writing, what was the best advice you've ever received?
That's a good question. I think, so I am a huge fan of Julia Cameron. So she didn't give this advice to me directly, but I read all of her stuff, and I am definitely a follower of The Artist's Way and her thoughts about creativity. And, for me, it's the whole idea that being creative is a lifelong process, and you don't just kind of reach creativity and kind of stay there. It's something you have to work on. And so really treating it like what it is. It's a privilege, it's your calling, and making sure to nurture it as well as, make sure you're doing the output.
Okay, well, share one of your personal habits that you think contributes to your success.
So I like to write early in the morning. For me, that's my time of day that I can be most productive. I have my brain's working best as long as I have my coffee. So I think it's really, and I also use crystals when I write. So I have specific crystals that I use that I keep on my desk or, with me when I'm writing. But I think it's really finding that time of day when you can carve out some time and be fully present for it. And I think that's definitely going to help you move the needle if you want to develop a writing practice.
Okay. Could you share with our listeners an internet resource that you use when you write?
That's a tough one. I use depending on what I'm writing, I use different things. For research, I definitely use. Oh, there's a website that I can send you afterwards. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it's you can put in like a phrase like fall, and it will give you all kinds of phrases of what you can, different ways you can reference things that are happening in the fall. That one's a kind of fun one. Someone had given that to me. It's something like words to use or something like that, but I'll send it to you so you can share it with your listeners. But that's a fun one that I do go back to every now and then.
Almost like a thesaurus for sentences, huh?
Yeah. Just it keeps you from using the same phrases over and over, right?
Yeah. No, that's a good thing because, you don't want to just use the same word over and over, and you don't want to use the same sentence over and over.
Right.
So you got to keep it interesting. So, Liz, we're going to go ahead and enter into the grand finale. And what I'd like you to do here is take your time and tell our listeners all about your book, 9 Lives and Alibis.
Sure. So this book is really very near and dear to my heart. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I love anything, like I said, related to anything woo-woo. So psychic mediums and, ghosts and cold cases that may involve ghosts and haunted inns and just spooky season in general. It's really a coming together of all of that, and cats, black cats. I love black cats. I love also spreading the word about. I always have a component of rescue in my books. So Cat Cafe books are all about cats that have been rescued and are, in a cafe waiting for adoption. And I try to do a little bit of education in each book. So there is a component of the book where we talk about how black cats, a lot of places won't adopt out black cats during the month of October just because people are terrible and will do terrible things to them because of superstitions, etc. So I like to feature a component of animal rescue. But basically what happens in the book is that this psychic medium is invited to come to town to do some readings for people in the haunted inn. The inn has been haunted for, centuries, but there were also a couple of disappearances, and there was a murder and a disappearance that happened 40 years prior that Becky, the local journalist, is really fixated on and she really wants to solve, and she's hoping the medium can help her do that. And so they end up talking about some of these cases, and he's getting some hits on what might have happened to these two people, and then he dies, and everyone has to figure out, did he die because of the ghost? Did he die because of something else? It turns out he had a stalker that followed him to the island. So there's all kinds of things going on. And then his cat is missing as well. So that's a problem because obviously everyone on his staff is very concerned about the cat. And, so is Maddie. She wants to find him. So they have to solve both of those mysteries, and in the process potentially solve 2 40-year-old crimes as well. So it's a fun book. I hope people think it's fun. It's it was a delight for me to write, and I think that translates when people are reading it. So
okay, well, Liz, we thank you so much for being here with us today, opening up to us, and I'm sure our listeners can appreciate that too. Again, this is Michael T. To all our listeners, I invite you to go to bookpartypodcast.com, hit that subscribe tab on top, scroll down to the icon of your choice, where you can find us on one of your favorite platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or Odyssey, where you can download and follow us there. Please leave a review. Don't forget to sign up for our weekly video newsletter and get the latest information on our upcoming shows. Book Party Podcast is owned and powered by MTM Legacy Publishing, LLC. This is Michael T. signing off.
You must not miss our next episode as we delve into a world of inspiration, entertainment, and thought-provoking insights. Join Michael T. on the next Book Party Podcast and experience a new adventure, a new story, and a complete immersion into the world of Pages Unveiled, Chronicles of the Writing Journey.